Today, I want to talk about Call of Duty 2021, or the rumored Call of Duty World War II Vanguard. And more specifically, I want to talk about the zombies mode. But then, more specifically, on top of that, I want to talk about the story of this mode because there's been some interesting rumors that came out like a while back that I had originally dismissed. But after the events of Muaer Der Toten, I think that those rumors might actually be true now. And yeah, that's what I want to talk about. But of course, what are the rumors I'm talking about? Because as everyone knows, everything pertaining to COD 2021 are all rumors. We literally know nothing official because they still haven't revealed the game or anything about that. Of course, that's probably going to change within the next couple weeks, but as of now, when I'm recording this, literally we know nothing official about this game. So what we're going to do is go off of rumors on top of rumors on top of rumors. So keep that all in mind. Everything we talk about rumors, or everything we talk about here today are rumors, excuse me. But keep that in mind while we go through this because you have to keep in mind, we're going off the rumor of this game being in World War II, then on top of that rumor that's going to have a zombies game, and then on top of that, and this leads us to the subject of this video, is that the zombies mode in that game is going to go in the exact same story of the current Dark Aether story in Cold War Zombies. So it's going to be in that exact same universe. And this, again, is something I doubted when I first originally saw this, because they can't really do what they used to do in the past with the Aether story, right? Because the Aether story had a bunch of different universes, there's a whole multiverse, different dimensions, and just all the crazy stuff going on that apparently some people didn't like, right? And the whole idea of ending that story and starting the Dark Aether story was to move to a more linear story that doesn't have too many crazy things, too many multiverses, or any multiverse at all. Like, the whole idea was to have just one nice timeline, right? Instead of a bunch of crazy stuff that I'm sure any hardcore zombies player is more than familiar with the story of the past. So to me, I didn't think it was going to be something that they're just going to say, oh, it's just in a different universe, but it's going to be in the same story or something weird like that. And this would only leave one of two options, right? That this is just happening at a different point in time. And considering that the game, Vanguard, is rumored to be during World War II, I mean, it seems to fit. And especially on at least at first glance, you see the first map, Die Maschine, a lot of that story has direct relations to World War II, right? Because in that, we hear about Dr. Vogel, Kurt, and End Station, and the lab they built in Moscow, Poland, to create the first ever rift between the regular universe and the Dark Aether. And it seems like we take off from there. Well, the reason I was doubtful of this is because I was thinking that, wait, don't we know everything that they did back then? Because the whole idea was that this lab in Moscow, Poland was going to be the first place that they ever opened a rift, right? That was the only place ever, and right as they did that and did their first work ever, it was stopped shortly thereafter, right? Because right then after that, we have the Soviets show up and then just, clap them, I guess, and, take or just kind of throw over the lab. We've all seen the Die Maschine stuff where they kill those zombies and then sent Zakhaev, or however you say his name, in there to go shut down the rift, and happily ever after until, Omega Groups pops up, right? And that was the story, right? That was a very quick story for the World War II stuff. They try something and then it fails because the Soviets stop them, right? That was the story. And that's why I doubted it, because that's all I thought happened during World War II, because that's all they made it sound like what happened. But that all changed with the most recent zombie map release, Muaer Der Toten, because in this we learn a lot about End Station. First things first is what I learned, and I think most people learned, is that End Station wasn't the name of the facility in Die Maschine. In fact, apparently, End Station's the name of the group. I don't really know how I missed that all this time. Maybe this is just a me thing, but that's something that is important to at least point out, that End Station is an actual group. But more than that, we actually learn of Vogel, the leader of End Station, his original plan to do with everything that they were going to do. And that was to send an army through the Dark Aether and then use that Dark Aether army in order to, attack everybody else and save, their side of the war and stuff like that. And of course, also as we learn in Muaer, is that that plan failed, and the entire army was just trapped in the Dark Aether all these years. For these last 40 years, at least in the regular universe, they've just been trapped there. Probably long dead, probably undead by now, but regardless, the army is still there, because that's the whole idea of Muaer, that they're finally going to release that army after so many years, right? So that was the, something that we entirely learned that we didn't know about, that there was actually a huge plan there. But again, this was a point where it's all like, okay, but that just happened at this one place. But then again, I'm sure you guys all know I'm going with here, is that it actually turns out End Station, or the Moscow, Poland, I guess, location of their lab wasn't the only End Station lab in there. Because apparently we learned that there's one in Berlin, one that we literally go inside of during the map, or during the Easter egg at the very least. And it turns out there's another lab entirely. So if this is the case, and there's already at least one lab we've never heard of before for this End Station group, like, does that mean that there's still a ton of things that we don't know about this End Station group, and there's a ton of things that we never learned of? And because of that, this leaves an entire window of possibility open for a World War II Vanguard story to expand upon this, kind of being a prequel to everything. And maybe you could explain exactly why we didn't learn about not only this I guess, place under Berlin, or the lab under Berlin, but maybe these other ones that we haven't heard of, is because of whatever we do in that story. Maybe we beat all the things that End Station was doing that we never learned about, and we only ever learned about them because whatever we play as in that was successful at stopping them. And yeah, it could really go anywhere from there. And even if that's not the case, they also left us another opportunity to do some other stuff, even without End Station. Because another thing we learned in Muaer is something about Dr. Kurtz. Of course, this guy was Vogel's right-hand man. We saw him in some of the ghosts, I guess, radio-ish things, I don't know, just the ghost visions, I don't know what you really want to call them, in Die Machina. And this guy, we actually learned that after the events of what happened in Moscow, Poland, when the Soviets showed up and shut everything down and all that good stuff, it actually turned out that Kurtz was captured by the Soviets. And in fact, we got a radio for this. But in this radio, Kurtz signs a deal with the Soviets that if he gives the names of all the other scientists and also give their locations, that the Soviets won't actually kill him. And also alongside with Valentina, which is a different thing that we're not going into, but the main point is that they won't kill him as long as he does work. They didn't exactly say what work, but he did works for the Soviets. So what exactly are the works that Kurtz did for the Soviets? Like, is there a secret, like even more secret evil organization within the Soviet KGB or something? Because we know Omega Group exists, but does that mean that there was one even before that? And if that's the case, like, what did they do? And, what could possibly happen there? And again, this leaves another window of possibilities open to writing an entire story within these two situations. And because of that, I maybe don't believe entirely that we will get a maybe prequel in Vanguard Zombies, but I do think it's at least possible for that could happen now. Like, before this, I was thinking, like, there's no way that's going to happen, but after Muaer Der Toten, there's two huge options or windows of opportunity for them to go take off in their own story and tell an entire prequel to everything that happened here inside Cold War Zombies. And like I said, they could go with one of the two options. They could go with the idea of End Station doing a lot more than we ever thought they did. Or they could go with the option of, like I said, they have the Soviets capturing Kurtz and making him continue his work. And either way, it does leave open options. But I guess that's going to wrap it up for this video. I love to hear what you guys think about everything we've talked about here today. Do you think it's possible or even likely that in Vanguard Zombies, if it even does exist, if it is World War II and if it does have zombies, do you think that they will tell a story that's within the Dark Aether story? And more than that, do you think it'll be a prequel like we described today? I'd love to hear those thoughts down in the description. But that's going to wrap it up for me. If you guys did find the video entertaining in any way, shape, or form, then definitely do all the normal YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, bell, share, and all that great stuff. But I'm going to go, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.